What's up, everybody? This is Kenny Cummins here. You're chilling with Kenny C right here on tmvcafe.com, kicking things off on your Monday. My next guest at this time is a recording artist from Huntington, West Virginia. Gives you a combination of rock and pop. And I must say, I got to see this brother perform on Super Bowl Sunday. I was going back and forth. I was watching the game, and then I went to the other building to see y'all perform. This individual and Scott T. Smith. Shout out to Scott. And I like that on his Facebook page, you got his name up on the header so you can pronounce his name. So I want to give it a shot here. I'm joined with Corduroy Brown. He's with me right now. How's it going?
That's it, man. Corduroy Brown. I have to spell that more often than you think.
Hey man, how's it going, man? How you feeling?
Dude, it's good, man. We're here in Huntington, West Virginia, talking with you on a good evening, man. Starting to get warm again, starting to feel a little bit better outside. You're not freezing to death, and that means more shows are coming, more music, more good air, more energy, all more daylight, all that stuff.
Yeah, we got the daylight savings thing coming up this weekend, and then I think the weekend after that, that's when spring gets here.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you taking this time and wanting to do this interview, man. And we'll definitely get into a variety of topics here. But first things first, man. I definitely dig this new song that just came out from you and a fellow West Virginia artist and Jake Christian.
Jake
Let it
Christian, yes.
Yeah, so Let It Go just came out as of today. So the timing of this interview is perfect. So go check that out. That's on all the platforms. So you have a very inspiring story. You have overcome so much adversity and to get to where you are today and releasing music. So I'll let you tell the story. So talk about you getting into music and the adversity that you went through and getting to where you are now.
Absolutely, man. So, music has been a part of my life since 2008. I mean, probably before that, because I grew up in church. My mom was making our butts go to church every Sunday morning. We didn't miss. It was, I didn't care how you were feeling, you were going to church. And so I've always loved music. But in 2008, my mom got me a guitar from a pawn shop. And that's literally where the spark came from. And I don't really have anyone in my family that's musical or anything. So, um, it's just taken over, and it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me, honestly. Just even before we started this interview, I was just playing a guitar and just sitting here, just zoning out before we got into talking to this. But over time, I've been super blessed to play with so many incredible musicians and do so many musical things, whether that's honestly one of my favorite memories of playing music was playing at a geriatric psych unit, believe it or not, in Portsmouth, Ohio, where these patients are pretty old, obviously, and they're in a unit where struggling with dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff. And to play music with them from their era, from the 50s, and to see them completely change as humans, man, that's been one of the most. I will never, if I don't ever play music again, I'll never forget being able to help those people out and just come back to earth for a little bit. Um, but beyond that, man, I mean, I've been so blessed to play music since 2008, and it's just been this crazy experience that keeps happening and keeps growing, and get to meet cool people like you and just people from all over the place, man. And it really means a lot that what our music means and what we believe in, which is self-care. Take care of yourself inside and out so that you can be alive for more of this life that we get to do one time. It means a lot that music resonates with everybody. It really does.
Definitely resonates for sure. Getting to see you perform at the Borough was definitely a special night. And just and I got to see you and Scott. It was actually my second time seeing Scott.
Hmm.
And the first time was at a festival at Lexington last year. I don't remember the name of the festival, so that was my introduction to him. And then when I um, heard that he was coming back, I was like, yes, I'm about to see him again.
Oh yeah.
And it was on the day, it was on Super Bowl Sunday. I said, you know what? I ain't got no dog, dog in the fight for that game. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go watch the game at the arcade place, and then I'm gonna go see y'all both perform. And it was definitely a fun night. And we got the chat afterwards and got a picture. So and what I do remember is that you was wearing a Chelsea Nolan shirt.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, that was a very um, wonderful moment. Shout out to Chelsea, very loved here in Kentucky, very talented
absolutely.
artist, very genuine, kind soul. Um, and you have released a EP recently
Hmm.
called West. So talk about the whole process of putting that record together and what made you call it West.
Yeah, man. So, back in 2021, I got super sick with COVID, and to the point where I got put on a ventilator down here in Huntington, and I was dying. So they flew me to Morgantown, West Virginia, where they put me on this type of life support called ECMO, and it's basically where they take your blood out of your body, repump it back into your body, so your heart doesn't have to do anything. Because when I left Huntington, I was in heart failure, liver failure, kidney failure, and lung failure, all from COVID complications. And that was 2 years ago. Almost, it's kind of at this point in early March when we're recording this. Like, I'm still seeing Facebook memories from 2 years ago where people were like excited that I was about to come home from dying, essentially. And so 2 years went by after all that, and we released the first album, Let Me Know, and those 2 years almost feel like a blur because you block all that stuff out. You just came back from a crazy traumatic experience, went straight to redoing music and writing music and touring and being on the road, and like you kind of didn't I never gave myself a chance to literally rest. I never gave myself a chance to like say, whoa, like you did die and you did come back, and I never really sat with it because there's just so much joy in what happened after all that. You know what I mean? You're celebrating life, so you don't really want to rest. But I think if you listen to the first album called Let Me Know that came out in 2021, you have to consider the rest EP like kind of like when the lights get turned out at the end of your concert, like everyone's leaving you and you're kind of there by yourself, packing your gear up, and you're like, man, that was crazy. And that's kind of what rest is to me. Is, man, we just went through a lot and we never really took a minute to just sit with ourselves and say, hey man, like there's there's a lot of life to live, but you got to sit down for a second. And that's really where rest came from, man. Was like after all that stuff happened, and all the stuff that came from all the COVID stuff and then all the rest of life, like I never rested. So that's really where it came from, I think.
Yeah, that was very devastating to deal with. COVID hit everybody hard from for all angles, whether it was a family, a friend, a loved one, and just the complications that came afterwards. Like even though some caught a lucky break, and then some did not. Um, and it pandemic. I guess from my perspective, may have been a blessing in disguise because it just gave us the time to literally stay home and whatever routine that you was doing, you had to adapt to it. Just take time and just reflect and just rest, literally. Um, and just we'll get back to some normalcy, but I think this is part of the all world now.
Mm-hmm.
And just all we can hope for is to be safe and your loved ones are safe, and just just do what you can to make sure everybody is safe. That's for venues. That's for everybody that is having these gatherings and group things and events and things like that. Like I am a junkie when it comes to live music, so it hurt me. I guess somewhat mentally that I couldn't do this for a while,
Hmm.
but I understood it. And COVID hit my family hard. My younger sister got COVID. She lives in Georgia. I live in Kentucky, and it was devastating. Oh, and she overcome it. She's okay, living and just living her life. But just a reminder, man. We all got one life to live. Don't take it for granted. Tell your loved ones that you love them. Give them a hug. Just say I love you. Because you might not get another chance like that. So um, your inspiration, man, someone that's overcome your adversity, and now you're back into the swing of things and doing music again, and getting back to your routine as a performer, as an artist. So um, just getting to see you at Lexington that night, um, just it was a special night, and just enjoying the music from you and Scott, man. So thank you. Y'all both travel a long way. You in particular, Huntington. So props to you, man. And I've ever since that meeting, I've heard your music. I heard the West Project. Like, man, this dude is a vibe, man. He's a vibe.
Thank you, thank you.
So um, thank you, man, for coming through to Lexington that night, and you and Scott go check out the record. It's called West for Corduroy Brown. It's available on all the platforms, and he gonna get the music. He's taking time off in March, but I appreciate him doing this interview with me. I do see you got some shows lined up for April. So we'll talk about your schedule here, and let's see, April 14th, you will be joined with Jen Tackett, who I love to death. Jen
Yeah,
Tackett, she I call her the hug queen.
she
Like
is that, man.
when she hugs, you gonna feel it. There was some one time I'm a very tall person, like 6'5", and she's not 6 foot tall, so I had to bend down, and so she gave me the neck hug. That's what that was. It was a
Oh
neck
yeah,
hug.
yep.
So, but it was cool. So how you feeling about these shows you got lined up for April? You're gonna be in Kentucky. You're gonna be in Ohio. You're gonna be at Huntington as well. Talk about these shows you got coming up, man.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited to get after it. And it's we're starting we get a lot of love in Eastern Kentucky, it seems like, and Kentucky in general, man. And it's been a blessing to do that because I think the first two shows, the first show is in Slade, Kentucky with Jen Tackett and Chelsea Nolan. Um, then the next one is in Danville, Kentucky at the Nook with Nolan Taylor and Jordan Lee King and all of those people. If that's the only shows I did in April, I would be more than thrilled. But it's just, again, it's just a blessing, man. I think we're doing stuff in like Chillicothe, Ohio as well with a good friend Ben Davis later in April, and then later in the month we're doing some stuff in like Waverly, Ohio. So we're only doing like 2 or 3 Huntington shows this year, and that's like intentional because it's so easy to burn out in a market. You know what I mean? You don't want to overdo it, and um, it's just, man, I start, we have shows from here to September, even into November right now, from here to Wisconsin, it seems like. And it's so crazy to get caught up. Like my schedule is already kind of stressing me out, if I'm being honest, but it's like I just can't stop. Like I can't stop doing it for some reason. So that's why I made sure to like literally rest through March. Like I'm not playing any shows. So we released that song with Jake Christian. But that's like I'm just gonna take time off and just get my head straight. So when we hit these shows, you know, I'm gonna make sure to come at them with a full head of steam for sure.
Yeah. So speaking of Jay Christian, the song came out as of today, and I gotta get him on the show for the future. He's that it was a nice track, man. I ain't gonna lie. That was a
He's good
nice
with it,
track.
man.
Jay Christian, shout out to that dude. Um, what was it like collaborating for this particular song?
Well, I've seen him so much, and he's from a town called Proctorville, Ohio, which is like right across from Huntington. And I've always seen him hustling on social media. Like he is like always posting his songs and like really pushing himself. But like for some reason, some people get a lot of traction with not much promotion, and some people get no traction. And like I just wish he would get more traction. So one thing I saw one day, this is like a year ago, he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for local artists to collaborate with. Like, I want to rap over your song." So I sent him an instrumental of one of my songs, and keep in mind, it's not like hip hop or anything, but he's a rapper. So he wrote like a verse to one of my songs, like last year and posted it. I was like, this dude just killed this. So when we had a big hometown show last year, like sold out at a place called the Loud here in Huntington, West Virginia. It used to be called the V Club. It's called the Loud now. Pretty much, it's like the Huntington's version of the Borough in Lexington, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we invited Jake on stage and to do his verse, and he killed it, man. And so like we had been tossing some ideas back and forth forever, and he was like, "Hey man, I think I got a song you're gonna do well on." So he sent me the song. I put the verse down, and man, I love what he did with it. And Jake is just a hustler, man. He goes after it so hard. So I would love to do some more collabs with him, and I'll get you guys linked up if you guys want to get him on the show, man. I think he'd be super grateful.
I'm all for it, man. What I love about these shows and these interviews is that it's a chance to um, help spread the word on independent artists like yourself and Jake and Chelsea, Jen, and just because there's so much talent, independent artists and local artists, and people don't even know it. So I feel like I have a purpose, and my purpose is to spread the word on independent music. I've become an advocate for independent music, and I go to shows nearly every weekend. There are times that I be overboard with it. I be literally going to the show every weekend. So every now and then I probably need to get me some rest myself. It's become a drug to me. I guess you could say it's a good
Hmm.
drug because I'm going, supporting people, talking to people, just having a good time. But I'm gonna eventually get my rest. I'm just too stubborn to get the rest right now. So look, as long as I'm not in trouble with the law or anything, then I think I'm doing okay.
You're doing just fine, man. And I have to say, from an artist point of view, like it means so daggone much that like you come to the shows, and it was cool of you to come and say hey and stuff like when we were done playing. I mean it really means like beyond more than like that you come and support, man. It means a ton.
And I definitely enjoyed that show that night. It was a special night. And I felt like I forgot about the Super Bowl. Uh, I think I watched some of it. I did because I do love me some Rihanna. I had to
Yep,
go see a
yep.
halftime show, and then I went back and seen y'all, and just thank. I love the borough so much because of circumstances like that night. Like you can watch the game in one building, and you can go enjoy live music on the next building. So it 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 was good, and it gave me some exercise that I probably didn't know I was gonna get. So it was a good time, man. Go check out this man, Corduroy Brown, joining me on the show this evening. Oh, nomination for indie folk from the Appalachian Arts and Entertainment Awards
Yes,
that's coming
yes.
up soon. Congrats on your nomination, man. How you feel about the nomination?
I'm super pumped because we're actually a finalist as well. So The Appy Awards are coming up March 18th, and we're so I don't think a lot of people know that like the Appalachian region is from like New York to like the Carolinas. So like to be considered as like the main top indie artist or win indie artist of the year like in with those like parameters, that's crazy to me, man. Like I'm super excited. I got my suit ready. I got an
Mm,
acceptance speech ready just in case. And me and my lady gonna get jazzed up and look nice for the night, man. It's gonna be a really good night. And it's cool because there's later in the year too, there's the Master Musicians Festival in Somerset. I think it's in Somerset, Kentucky. If I can't remember. Thanks. That sounds right. Yeah, Somerset. So, um, we were told that we were the only non-Kentucky band there. We got like the board that books the Master Musicians Festival like made sure to get us because we're getting people's attention and stuff, and I'm super grateful for that. So to be like considered in a whole pool of the crazy amount of Kentucky musicians, to be the only non-Kentucky musician on the lineup too later in the year, man, at that big festival. Nappy Roots is going to be there. Winona Judd's headlining. Like
yes.
it's going to be crazy, man. And I'm just like, I don't ever want people to think that I'm ungrateful for all of this. I mean, like it blows me away sometimes that people even care at all about us, you know?
Yeah, man. Got the country boys, man. They I love Nappy Roots because, not just because they are Kentuckians, but the fact that even after their success in the mainstream side, and now they become more indie artists themselves now. They just they always show love to Kentucky. They don't forget where they came from. They got some businesses in Georgia, but they still come to Kentucky to show some love. So um, that resonates.
Oh yeah.
So props to the country boys. They awesome folks, man. You can check out Corduroy Brown on the social media platforms. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. Hit that follow button at Corduroy Brown WV. WV obviously stands for West Virginia. So check him out on Facebook as well, and support this man. Let's put them numbers up for
Let's get it.
Rex. And go check out the collab with Jay Christian. Let It Go just came out as of today, so go
Hmm.
check that out. I know you said you was taking time off in March, but I do appreciate again for having you, for you being on the show this evening, and it was good to meet you last month. And if I don't have no plans, I might come through in Richmond, Kentucky. I've been to the Bluegrass Bear House a couple times. It's a nice spot. Again, thank you for your time, man. Continue happiness, health, and everything in between, man. Thanks for your time.
Likewise, man. So good to meet you and so excited. We'll see you down the road somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. You have a good night, man.
You too, man. Appreciate you so much.
Peace and love. All right.